the British government can't have carte blanche to do what it wants within legacy. I mean, this ruling is quite a significant setback, but ultimately it's never going to be found lawful, in line with the European Convention on Human Rights and other international obligations, for a state simply to be able to conceal the involvement of its own agents in killings and other human rights violations.
I think that, the UK government, must not use today as an opportunity, as licence to further entrench secrecy in this and in other cases, and to continue to perpetuate a culture of impunity, of cover-up and of concealment of very serious human rights violations that were committed during the Troubles.
The British government lost in that court, both the Tories and Labour, around the Legacy Act and the immunity provisions. The court in here declared them to be unlawful. What's happened today with the Supreme Court ruling is an attempt, I suppose, to reintroduce that immunity provision de facto in the form of today's judgment.
I mean, there's no doubt that today will have significant implications, for other cases. I mean, really, we throw this back to the UK government. The UK government has claimed that it is committed to maximum disclosure at the same time that it is using its resources to fight victims in the courts. And they've introduced a Troubles bill that actually doubles down on national security. That does not tell victims that this is a government committed to truth and transparency. That sends a very clear message to victims that this government, like its predecessors, will perpetuate a long-standing culture of impunity and cover-up.
Is this a setback for the Chief Constable, not just in naming state rights, but him being in favour of more disclosure and transparency generally?
No. Yeah.
Well, the Chief Constable has done the right thing here. He's done the right thing in terms of the rights of victims to truth, to information recovery, and to know what happened to their loved ones in conflict-related incidents. He, of course, gave a bedside apology to Eugene about the role, the police failings in relation to Paul Thompson's killing, which included apologising for the way that 3 potential suspects were not arrested or investigated over this killing. So I think he has done the right thing, and the UK government really needs to review its own approach to this, because there cannot be a situation where ministers can simply conceal the involvement of state agents in the most serious of human rights violations in any country in the world.
We agree with the Chief Constable. There is clearly greater need for truth and transparency in legacy. Victims had hoped that the Troubles bill would be a critical step on that journey, but until and unless the national security provisions in that bill are removed, we fear, and victims fear, that it will be a continuation of same. It will be a continuation of victims not getting the truth that they deserve, and that's long overdue to them.
In terms of national security, everybody knows what's happened in not only this case, but scores of cases. National attempt to try and fool the public that they're protecting people. They're not. What this is about damage and reputational damage. This is about a British government and its predecessors and its agencies, particularly Security Service MI5, RUC Special Branch and the Force Research Unit, running agents involved in murder. We were told Brian Nelson saved lives, we were told Scabatici saved lives. What we now know is they were responsible for more deaths than any lives that they saved, if they saved any at all. What this is about is protecting what went on during the conflict. Britain's dirty war and its use of agents and informers to murder people and kill people, and where they could have prevented deaths, they let them go ahead while they played their games out on the streets of Belfast through their agents. This is exactly what it's about. They don't want another Canova report. They don't want more exposure. This is about covering up the crimes committed by those agencies in this jurisdiction during the conflict.
The misuse of national security is a shield, not for genuine national security, but to avoid scrutiny. I think that's very clear.
It's obviously a very detailed and complicated judgment, and it took a lot of time to go through, but initially, what's the next steps that you're thinking of at the minute?
So, I mean, obviously, we'll have to discuss this with the family and look at what next steps to take. There is the potential for the European Court of Human Rights to get involved in this. This isn't the end of the line. But we also need to look at the broader international pressures from the United Nations. I mean, 3 UN special rapporteurs, experts in this sort of field, one in relation to extrajudicial executions, another in relation to torture, another in relation to truth recovery, have made very clear their view that any sort of national security veto that can conceal the involvement of state agents in what essentially are extrajudicial executions cannot be lawful under UN standards or indeed the European Convention on Human Rights. So this most certainly is not the end of this issue.
Just to add, today is not the end. Victims will continue to fight, and they'll continue to be supported by ours and other organisations to get the truth that is due to them. The UK government has claimed that it is committed to a process that will finally centre victims. Well, now we need to see it. We need to see it through this legislation, and we need to see in terms of what they do as next steps after today.
And Sharon, just in response to your question, carte blanche, listen, families have been through these ups and downs. What the British government today has done has shown to anyone that has an interest and studies these issues is that a British government is closing ranks. This is about the defence of the realm. It's not about anything else of the interests of justice. Justice was, in my view, subverted. Philip Sales was the author of this judgment, and he's one of the Supreme Court lawyers. As a junior member of the Treasury, a lawyer, he came to Belfast and met the Chief Justice when the Scabatici trial was on to tell the Chief Justice that Scabatici couldn't win his case because he was steak knife. That's a matter of fact and public record. That's what this is about. This is about defending the indefensible and politically doing that and a government doing that. The Secretary of State is in best place to make decisions about national security. It's MI5, RUC, well, the PSNI now to make those decisions. The Chief Constable has said this doesn't provide any threat to national security, but MI5 does.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
I don't know. Should have talked like this.
no, it's the lawyer. Lovely lawyer, Una. April 1994. No, it's April 94. April 30th, 94. Is it?
It was 8 days earlier before the agreement with the defence being cut off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Had better days. But yeah, not that any of us is immensely surprised.
Right, see you, and have a good Christmas.
Andrew,
Yes,
take
see you
care.
in January.
He's having the Christmas party.
Thanks for that.